very good evening to you. Welcome to the special interview session. Of course, you must have been notified earlier on. This is what we do prior to the deadline for the governorship and state assembly campaigns for 2023 general election. Welcome. My name is Ginika Olwa. Of course, you know that from 2 days away from now, Abians will be trooping out in their numbers to their various polling units to cast their ballot with a hope to electing their governor as well as the 24 House of Assembly members who represent them in the next 4 years. So, as a radio station, we will be bringing you the candidates for various political parties, and we interrogate their programs ahead of this election. Welcome once again. Okay, my guest this evening is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Otti. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, Ginika. Thank you for having me.
Okay. We'll take a breather now. When we come back, we hit the ground running. All right, welcome back to the program. It's still a special interview. Like I told you before we went on that break, that my guest this evening is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Otti. Welcome back to the program, sir. Now, let's hit the ground running straight up. This is your third attempt at the governorship position. Abians will want to know, what is the push? What is the motivation? 3 times.
Well, let me thank you once again for inviting me to this program. Direct answer to the question, what is the motivation? The motivation is to fix Abia. That's why I came out the first time, and that's why I'm still here. And if somehow the people who stole my mandate in 2015 had done what I wanted to do, I probably wouldn't have any reason to come out again. But unfortunately, what we see is total collapse, a decay everywhere. The economy itself collapsed. 8 years down the line, things have got worse. And we can't sit idly by and pretend that we can't do anything about it, because we have people who can do something about it. And because I have started a journey, my option is to either complete the journey or go back. Going back is not acceptable. So Abia has not been fixed. I'm just coming from Abia, and the level of decay, simple cleaning up the environment. As you move on the Port Harcourt-Enugu Expressway, as you enter Abia, the median is covered with rubbish all over the place, and these have been there for months and months and months. Nobody is doing anything about it. I entered a area market, and all what I saw was dilapidation. So we must fix this state because it belongs to us. So, and that is the motivation. That's why I'm not giving up.
Okay, sir. You have always shown resentment over the running of some agencies of government in the state and the time past. Obviously, you appear not to be comfortable with their activities. What will be your intervention strategies in addressing, for instance, in the education sector? What will you do differently other than what this present government is doing?
Well, I'm not sure this government is doing anything. So I will do everything differently. Starting from motivation of the teachers, and through rebuilding the schools that we have, equipping the schools with modern laboratories and libraries, looking at the curricula of the schools from primary through tertiary. Just need to look at the curricula and ensure that it's consistent with the modern world. Like I said somewhere, you can't be teaching your students about pinhole camera when the world is talking about artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D printing, driverless cars, electric vehicles. So the world has moved. Digital technology. So you need to focus your children along the lines of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because those are what rule the world today. So we unfortunately have abandoned our first love, and that's education. The Igbo man is noted for education. Today, virtually all our schools have been run down. Salaries are not paid on time. The worst hit are the tertiary institutions. Abia State Polytechnic has lost its accreditation simply because the government has refused to pay salaries. As at the time they lost accreditation, the salaries of lecturers and other workers in Abia State Polytechnic were in arrears to the tune of about 30 months. Right now it may be about 40. Abia State University Teaching Hospital also lost its accreditation, and I had warned this government at least 3 months before the action was taken, because I found out from friends that are members of National Association of Resident Doctors who came on inspection, and one of them put a call through to me and asked why our government is running a teaching hospital that is supposed to produce doctors, and then those that are supposed to be teaching the doctors are not paid, and they threatened that they were going to withdraw the accreditation of the institution. I put my pen to paper and called the attention of this government. All they did in response was to abuse me, and 3-4 months down the line, the accreditation was withdrawn. So there's a whole lot to do with education, and if you don't get education right, then you put the future of the youth at risk. So we're going to do everything different. We're going to properly fund education. We're going to, like I said, look at the curricula. We're going to supervise and monitor and ensure that the funding is going to the purpose for which it was intended. These are some of the things that we do. A comprehensive analysis of education in Abia State and what we intend to do have been articulated in our manifesto. And I would invite you, if you have the time, to go to www.alexotti.com and then click download manifesto, and the 42-page document will show up on your device, and you can take your time to read it.
Okay, for the purposes of those Abians who may not have the opportunity of accessing the manifesto, especially those women and other people in the rural areas and the rest of them, they also want to know exactly, you said a whole lot about what you're doing in terms of facilities in the education sector. What about the welfare package of teachers?
Yes, I spoke about it, and even paying them what you have agreed, we are not doing. But I believe that if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. If you want to keep the right quality and also quantity of teachers and facilitators, then you have to pay well. If you have a look at what is happening, not just in Abia, but in the whole country today, everybody has joined the Japa syndrome. And what that means is that a lot of our bright people are voting with their feet and taking up jobs in the UK, in the US, in Dubai, and elsewhere. A sort of brain drain. So to reverse that, we need to ensure that we motivate the people very well. Pay is key, but also other conditions of service, ensuring that even the state where they work is properly secured and the environment is clean and they want to stay here. So everything ties together. When you have abandoned the development of infrastructure, when insecurity is the order of the day, when people are hungry, when poverty level is at 31% as it is here in Abia, then it's a cause for worry. So it's a comprehensive retool of the entire system.
Okay, so now let's talk about workers' issue generally. The one you just spoke about had to do with the education sector, but there are other agencies of government. Of course, you know, so many of them in Abia State. Up to this moment, they are still protesting, even the health workers, HMB and the rest of them, of non-payment of salary. And the pensioners, they are also on the other side crying that they've not been paid. What are you going to do to address this?
Very interesting question, and I think it is also apt. Unfortunately, we have a situation where the government has completely destroyed our economy. When this government came into place on the 29th of May 2015, they inherited a debt profile of about 34.5 billion naira. And today, they've run it up to 190 billion. So that's the first problem. So you are owing so much. This same government receives, by its own admission, between 15 and 16 billion naira every year from internally generated revenue. They also receive an average of 60 billion every year from federal allocation. So you have 75 billion every year, and then you have borrowed anywhere around 150, 160 billion in 8 years. But then on top of that, you are not paying salaries, you are not paying pensions, and all we get are propaganda. Recently, this government claimed to have promoted civil servants. The same civil servants you are not paying. So it's all political gimmick. It's deceit. And then as they announce the promotion, their errats went to the social media to claim that I had said I will reverse the promotion. Of course, everything to them is a game. And then now pensioners are being owed for no less than 56 months. And you expect very high productivity when you are not paying people. And I think it's very, very wrong. So it will be interesting for the government to tell us what they have done with all the allocation and with all the money they have borrowed. When you look around Umuahia, it is still a glorified village, doesn't look like a state capital. When you go to Abia, it's all decay that you see everywhere. And there's no other town that is being developed. The joke they call the Niba Economic City remains a joke because you have not fixed Abia, you have not fixed Umuahia, and you are talking of a new town. So it's also political. So it's very unfortunate that we found ourselves where we are today. But all hope is not lost, and that's why we call on Abians to weep no more, because help is on the way. We have the required knowledge, we have the capacity, we have the track record, and we have the network to fix the state. So from an economic point of view, I had argued that any time you do not pay your workers, you actually shoot your economy on the foot. Because what you've done is that you've cut out a large percentage of your people from participating in the economy. And it's simple. Anytime an economy like Abia is struggling, it's a 3.5 trillion naira economy, which by taking simple decisions, very simple decisions, including paying salaries, this economy can double to about 7 trillion or even get to 10 trillion. And how does it work? The economy works with money. So when you see an economy that is depressed, or an economy that is in recession, all you need to do is to stimulate that economy. Stimulating an economy is putting money into the economy. And what better way to put money into the economy than pay people that have worked for you? So if you pay somebody maybe 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira, 10, 15,000 naira, you have empowered him to participate in the economy. Even by taking simple decisions like buying decision. You also get several other decisions to be taken in the economy, because once the demand decision is there, then the supply decision will be taken, and then the production decision will be taken, then the job creation decision will be taken, the poverty reduction decision will also be taken, and the insecurity reduction decision will be taken. So it's a circular kind of system. Anytime there's a break in that circle, the economy struggles. In fact, the entire thing collapses. So when a government is not paying workers, and you think you are hurting the workers, maybe you'll be hurting them, but you're also hurting the economy. So one of the first things that I will do, and I promised, whatever it takes, once we're able to verify the people that are being owed and for how long they are being owed, we will pay them off. Even if we have to borrow more money to do that, we'll pay them off and get them to now participate in the economy. And by doing that, they also are able to generate revenue by paying taxes, by paying their landlords if they are tenants, by also paying school fees, paying for all activities. That's how an economy works. So those are some of the things that I would do with respect. And it's not just because I want to do them, because I believe it makes economic sense. Some of the decisions that this government has taken, including taxing people. By the time I got into area today, people were screaming, no more ticket, no more ticket. So you are not investing in the economy. Meanwhile, you're also taxing them heavily. I had defined taxation as government's share of the prosperity that it has created amongst the populace. And what that means is that if you are unable to create prosperity for your people, then you lose the moral right to collect taxes from them. So I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay, sir. Abians are actually listening to you, and they also want you to make a commitment as to when you are looking at clearing all this backlog of salaries owed workers and pensioners as well.
I had committed.
Like when are we looking
at different fora that by the end of this year, and that's December 31 this year, all those verified ones, because you see, I've heard from very reliable sources also that some of the salaries are being paid in cash, some in the era of BVN, where we can easily verify everyone. So some of those things are happening because people benefit personally from them. We are not going to allow that. We introduce technology, we will ensure that the proper thing is done.
Okay, now looking at the situation of things, like the present government will always complain of paucity of funds in executing projects and every other things that they need to do as a government. Now, if eventually you get elected, where will you get the money to achieve what all those things you've been talking about you're going to do? Where will you get the money, sir?
Good question again. Unfortunately, I may not give you all the answers. But then you must also believe me that that is my trade secret. That's what I bring that nobody else brings amongst everybody that is contesting for this position, with due respect. I have always worked with money, and as a trained banker who grew through the ranks and became chief executive of a thriving bank, I can tell you that where to get the money will not be a problem. Now, the finance sources are also smart. So if they believe that you are corrupt, if they believe that you are not transparent, if they believe that your government is opaque in doing business, they will not make their funds available to you. So I believe that I have what it takes, and the mere fact that I'm announced governor of this state will make investors, both local and foreign, want to come in here, because they know what I stand for. I stand for transparency, responsibility. I stand for openness, and the integrity. So, and those are the things that the international community and local investors are looking at. Of course, the creation of an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Today, Abia State ranks number 32 out of 36 states in Nigeria in the ease of doing business index, and that's a measure introduced by the World Bank. So, and what that means is that if you're an investor and you are looking for where to invest your money, there are 31 other states that would take priority, and it's only when you go from number 1 to 31 and you still don't find what you are looking for that you will now begin to look at Abia State. And for context, Imo State ranks number 11 in the ease of doing business index, and Anambra State ranks number 7. And some of the states that we may dismiss with a wave of the hand, particularly in the north, are doing a whole lot better. Sokoto State ranks number 2, and Jigawa number 3. So we have not done well at all. So once we pay attention to those, it will be very easy for us to get funding for everything we want to do. I don't have any problems with that, but I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so still on this issue of revenue, one will also want to know exactly how you'll address the issue of revenue leakages, money for the boys, the thoughts you see on the road, making money for government and the rest of them. These people also, they are engaged, in quotes. So how will you address that? Of course, if you take them out of that job, what becomes of them eventually?
Okay, again, good question. Even when they are engaged, you find that in Abia State today, unemployment rate is at 51%. And I believe that some of these people you mentioned would have been backed out of the unemployment line. So you find that more than half of people who are willing, able, and actively looking for jobs cannot find jobs. And that is almost twice the national average of 33.3%. And don't forget that the national average puts us at number 2 in terms of countries that have high level of unemployment. I believe that is one of the war-torn countries that is number 1. So the first thing to address is creating jobs. And I believe that some of the touts, some of the people who you call the boys that need to be settled, if you settle them permanently by providing them jobs or supporting them to start businesses, they will not be available to be settled from government resources as boys. They become men. Through our manifesto, we have spoken extensively about creating jobs and creating wealth. One of the ways to do that, our people are very, very skilled people. If you take a look at Abia combines what you have in Onitsha and in Newi as a hub for trade and light manufacturing. There's hardly anything that Abia cannot produce. It may not be very sophisticated the way they do them in China or US, but at least they would produce you something. Just imagine if you support the business they do with access to funding, with infrastructure, then Abia can easily become a mini Japan, and that is exactly what we intend to do. So what we intend to do will be to make funding, cheap funding, available for a lot of people who want to go into business. We also intend to build infrastructure. I went to an area today, and the Shoe Plaza area, statistics shows that about 60,000 shoemakers exist in the Shoe Plaza. Their major problem is power. So if you solve the problem of power, you have reduced their cost of production by over 40%. So why can't we do that? Of course, in my previous life, I had supported Geometric, which today is set to provide power for the Abia Island. And that includes the Umuahia North local government, Isialangwa North local government, through Isialangwa South, through Osisioma, all the way to Okwa West, including Abia North and Abia South. And the very day Geometric switches on, it's 181 megawatts of power generating plant. Then NEPA switches off, and they will have 24-hour supply of light in Abia and its environs. In a chat that the prime mover of Geometric had with me, visited me not too long ago, he said everything was ready, the gas was ready, and hopefully before June, I believe that they will start. So if you solve that problem in Abia, then you would have put a lot of people back to job. So the job of touting around, the job of following people and screaming and all that, those are not jobs. So it's like giving people little fish rather than teaching them how to fish. So in a nutshell, we'll create jobs for those people and give them permanent sources of livelihood rather than being touts.
Okay, if you're just joining us, this is a special interview, and my guest is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Chioma Otti. He has said a whole lot, but we'll take a breather now. When we come back, there are other issues we are going to talk about on this program. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the program. It's still a special interview, and my guest is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Otti. Welcome back to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk politics now. Some elites in Abia State actually believe that you are on a revenge mission, having contested. This is your third time. What's your reaction to that?
The revenge mission. What am I revenging? Okay, maybe they are talking about the fact that they stole my mandate in 2015. I've moved past that. I strongly believe that God's time is the best. And the fact that we are alive, healthy, still agile and willing to do this, I believe is enough for us to thank God. I don't have any problems with anybody. I don't have anything to revenge. Yes, we won an election and it was stolen. We learned from that, but then we moved on. And if anything, I believe that those elites are the ones that want to continue to hold the state down. And we have said no to it. 24 years is enough for them to pack and go. If you watch what is happening today, there are all sorts of propaganda, lies from the same elites. What's their problem? Their problem is that they know that I'm not going to come and share money in Abia. I will not do that. I will use Abia money to work for Abia people. So the practice of every month people get envelopes, people get credit alerts into their accounts would stop. But we will replace that with wealth creation. So you have to earn your keep. So that's what the issue is. Otherwise, I believe that we don't have any problem. And I would like to use this opportunity to also advise them. The outgoing government will be the last government in this state that is founded on godfatherism. I had always defined godfathers as people who impose their stooges who are inferior to them. And that's what we have seen from the first to the second to now the third. And I think we have had enough in Abia. And so all the propaganda, all the lies, I think they should stop. These days we hear, oh, they are going to rig the election, they are going to militarize the place, as if the state belongs to them. It's important for them to also understand that we are ready for them. And this time around, we are not going to allow any irregularity of any kind. So the votes will be counted, they will be protected, and the winner will be announced. And we have no doubt that we are going to win this election because we are the most prepared, we are the ones that can hit the ground running, and most importantly, we are the only ones that don't have any appendage to the ruling cabal in Abia State. So Abia people are ready to sack that cabal so that we can start the development of our state. If you look around today, Abia is bottom last, and it's very unfortunate that you have a state with so much potentials, but performing abysmally poorly. And I believe that this is the time to put a stop and say enough is enough.
Okay, sir. Will you also be interested in looking into the books of this present administration in terms of kind of probing or investigating, calling the anti-graft agencies to come and assist you probe instead of focusing on government? Because those are some of the speculations we hear that you intend to do if eventually you get into office.
Well, I know that the guilty is always afraid. I have had it myself, and sometimes they quote themselves, not me. The governorship or governance and our democracy gives you only 8 years. 4 years in the first instance, and if people are happy with you, you have a second term. So, and I know for sure that before you know it, 4 years will speed through. In 2015, we were thinking that 2023 will not come. Here is 2023. 8 years gone, not a lot of positive news. So I do not intend to distract myself with unnecessary probes. It will be a distraction. I can tell you for free that when President Buhari took over the mantle of leadership in 2015, one of the mantra that he ran on was he was going to probe past administrations and bring everybody to book. Of course, he could do that under the military administration when he was the military head of state in 1983. But as he came in 2015, he found out that it's not that easy. I know that when you set up a probe and you start chasing people, the people will also be chasing you. And then by the time you finish the probe, that is just the beginning, because you will now need to go to court. And then the court process can be very long. There's a story of somebody that his successor was chasing, and it took him the 8 years he had as governor and another 4 years to secure a conviction at the Federal High Court. So that was 12 years. And then shortly after, that conviction was reversed. So the question to ask is, what did he gain? So for me, I will be too much in a hurry to deliver good governance to our people. I'll be too much in a hurry to develop this state that I wouldn't have time to begin to look at past administrations and then begin to waste my time in the law courts. And don't forget, the first stage is the Federal High Court or State High Court. From there, you proceed to the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. So that process may take you 20 years. Meanwhile, you have only 8 years. So that I'm not going to probe is not because I wouldn't want to probe, but because I know it will not work, and I know it will be destructive, and I know there's a whole lot of work to do, and my priority will not be to begin to look back when I should be looking forward.
Okay, sir. Now, still in politics, the politics of Labour Party. The last election actually saw the Obi wave sweeping across some states in the southeast and south-south, with Labour Party being the biggest beneficiary of that particular wave. But some people believe that that wave, especially your political opponent, they believe that that wave has gone down, and it may actually work against your election. Could that be why you're running for this, based on the Obi wave, or you're running based on your capacity?
Okay, good question. It is interesting that people are thinking that way. They have a right to think the way they want to think. One of the first things that I would like you know is that I joined Labour Party before Peter Obi came, and I didn't know that Peter Obi was on his way to Labour. It took close to a week before Peter Obi, who is my very good friend, and I have written about him because I know him. On the 8th of June 2020, that's almost 2.5 years ago, I had dedicated my back page column in This Day to Peter Obi, celebrating him and his style of leadership. In fact, I used him to explain the 6 C's of leadership: character, capacity, competence, courage, culture, construct, capital, and consistency. So it took about a week before Peter called me and said he heard I was in Labour Party. I said, yes, Your Excellency. He said, please stay there. I've just bought the presidential nomination forms. And shortly after, he won there was primaries, and they won by affirmation, and the rest is history. So at the time I was joining, I never knew Peter Obi was coming, but I would not deny the fact that he had been a big boost to Labour Party. Now, for those who coming up with the garbage of the wave being this and being that, the truth about the matter is that they should cast their minds back to 2015 when we ran on the platform of Abia. Abia was a small party in the state which never had even one councillorship seat. And by the time we were done with the election, we took almost half of the House of Assembly seats, and we won the governorship election. There was no Peter Obi, and there was actually no presidential candidate. In fact, we adopted Jonathan then, if I remember correctly, and we still won the election. So Peter Obi wave is good, but it is not what is going to deliver us. We have got the endorsement of Peter Obi, and Peter Obi will always support me because he knows what I stand for. But then, even if Peter Obi were not there, we will still win the election. And I believe, on the contrary, the opponents are afraid that the P2B wave may be a boost, and you can see them claiming to have delivered P2B, including the sitting governor of the state who lost his senatorial contest, and he had asked his people to warn P2B to steer clear from Abia because they had an agreement, and had responded to say that P2B, I know, does not enter into fraudulent agreements. And to give impetus to that, last Friday, 6 days ago, P2B joined me as I campaigned in Umunochi and called people to come out and vote for me because he can vouch for me. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
It's okay. I think Abias are listening and they know, the right answer to that. Well, it's time for us to actually open the phone line so you can be part of this discussion. And I've been speaking with the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Otti. He has said a whole lot as regards to his program, his manifesto, if eventually he gets into office, what he would do for the Abia. It's time for you to be part of this discussion. But I must remind you, please, we are having a very decent conversation here. So if you must be part of what we're doing here, you must be civil in your submissions. The numbers to call are 080-8182-6949 or 0811605-2949. You can also send your SMS 090-651-08289. Hello? Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. What's your name? Okay. From where? Okay, just go ahead. I am really struggling to hear you. I don't know, maybe you are too close to your phone or something.
His Excellency is a matured man.
Okay.
So, all he said, he will do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in there. 080-8182-6949 or 0811605-2949. Hello? Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
Hello, good evening.
I can hear you very well. Good evening, welcome.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, what is your name?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, thank you, my Alex. Good evening.
Good evening, welcome.
What's your name?
Hello, good evening, my incoming governor.
Good evening.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Go ahead. Okay, maybe you're not really ready for us. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Senator, and your Excellency.
Good evening, welcome.
My name is, thank you, my name is Governor Eric. I'm obedient to the call, let me add that. And I'm calling you from Mohammed and Obokoro.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want to appreciate His Excellency there. Please, as a banker, I was a banker for 18 years, and I understand what it means to rise to the position of an MD of a bank. That work of exposure, connection is part of what he will use to turn around here. I'm also aware that he has first companies and all that. So I know him a bit, and I think he will make us proud when he becomes governor. As for the issue of people who are talking about doing this and doing, and I've been asking this question, nobody wants to answer. If he was a governor in Anambra, and some persons were governors here too at that time, why is it that they did not live their life or manage the state so that today there will be another wave wherever?
Okay.
And they keep talking about Obi. So I think we are out for this game, and by the grace of God, by this time Saturday or Sunday, the result will be in the favor of Chief Alex Otti.
All right, thank
and
you.
we will be rejoicing and shouting and singing.
Thank you, Governor Eric.
The state is going out of the clutches of slave masters and slave riders.
Okay, thank you so much, Ugonna Eric, for calling us. Okay, the numbers to call are 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. Hello, good evening.
Hello. Good evening,
Good evening, welcome.
I know comments which will go Carlos from Abia. Good evening, Dr. Otti.
Good evening.
Thank you. My third this evening is a question. I want to ask you, sir. I'm an agri-consultant. In the event that you win this election, what are you going to do to make this state self-sufficient in terms of food production, especially in Abia North, where you have the rice belt of this state? In 2017, CBN came to assist this state through the instrumentality of Ministry of Agriculture in anchor brewers rice production. In my community, we offered 200 hectares of land. When it was time for them to release the fund, the state government asked them to hand over the money. That was why that program didn't take place in Abia. So what will you do in agri sector?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's take another call and allow Dr. Alex to actually answer the question. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good evening. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
I can hear you very well.
Hello?
Okay, I think we are really having issues with this particular line. I think we have some SMS here too. This one says, so happy to hear the voice of our incoming Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Otti. Please don't fail we Abians. Flash from Umuahia. Okay, thank you so much, Flash. I think we have a caller now. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. My name is Sam Okoro.
Okay.
Yeah. Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening, Sam.
Yes. Please, there's this, shall I call it propaganda, that you have a plan to come and do some downsizing of Abia workers. And that you have an anti-worker attitude and program. So I want you to use this opportunity to speak to this issue. Let Abians know what your plans are for Abia workers. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Okay.
And may God see you through.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
You can work.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me start. Ben from Isialangwa, thank you for describing me as a matured man. I think I'll take that to the bank. Ugonna from Olokoro, also very positive comments, and I'd like to thank you for those comments. Uche Okoro Carlo, talking about food security. What will I do with agriculture, the rice belt in Abia North? And of course, you talked about the Anchor Borrowers program, which according to you, the state government diverted. I think I've had that before. And I know that states like Bauchi and had taken advantage of the Anchor Borrowers product from CBN, and today they are easily some of the largest rice producers in the country. Quite frankly, again, the issue of agriculture is very key in our manifesto, in our program, because we know that a large majority of our people are into agriculture. So we are going to support agriculture. The Borrowers program is one fertilizer. We found that there is that phosphate exists in commercial quantity in Bende local government area, and one of the first things we'll do, fertilizer is also called NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus or phosphate, and then potassium. So we intend to take advantage of the phosphate in Bende to set up a fertilizer company around Bende, and make money not just by selling fertilizer, but exporting and then making it available for our farmers. And we are going to massively support agriculture. It may interest you to know that the U.S. government spends about $200 billion annually to support farmers and agriculture, and we're going to do that. Okay. Sam Ukoro, thank you, and I'm happy you called it propaganda. I never said that I was going to reduce the staff strength of the civil service. Never. It is a propaganda from the government, and we have investigated it, and we have put government on notice that a responsible government should not be dishing out lies to its citizens. I never said that. There is no reason to say it. And in any case, when we are coming to create jobs and ensure that poverty is eradicated, we shouldn't at the same time be sacking people. So, and I believe why I have not responded to it all this while is because I believe that the civil servants are smart enough. What this government is doing is to assume that people do not have sense. Because anybody that has sense will know that propaganda is a lie. And it's also a good time to warn this government that they should behave responsibly. They go out there, set up some lie, and then come and respond to it. I want to assure them that some of those will not dissuade people from coming out to vote on Saturday. Okay. I'd like to use this opportunity to call on everyone to come out en masse on Saturday and vote Labour Party all the way. All the intimidation, all the news that is coming out, all the terrorism that they are threatening, none of them will happen. We are very prepared for them. Okay. So nobody should be afraid. Come out and vote. Stay there until the vote is counted, and then follow, if you are able to, follow the INEC staff to your ward, because ward collation will happen on Saturday, and from the ward to the local government, from the local government to the state, and we will win the election, and we will start the process of rebuilding Abia. Finally, I would like to say that we have majority, in fact, about 80 to 85% of Abia people behind us. And because we have that large population behind us, I can assure you that I'm fully in charge, and we are going to ensure that nothing untoward happens on Saturday. And anywhere you are, come out and vote Labour Party. And as you do that, you can be sure that you have started the process of rebuilding your state. Okay. Thank you, Ginika, for having me. I know your time is gone.
Yes, exactly.
And I would like to say thank you to Flow FM and other people that were involved in this program. Okay. Don't also forget, Ginika, to come out and vote for me. I hope I've impressed you today. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. The governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Abia State, Dr. Alex Chioma Otti. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best on Saturday. Thank you. And to all of you who listened and who called in, thank you so much. May God bless you. Don't forget to join us at 10 p.m. exactly. We'll be having another interesting special interview session here. Thank you so much. My name is Ginika Olwaha. I'll see you again.